To the Level Up Sports Talk Show. I'm your host, John. I got alongside with me my analyst for tonight, Mr. Wes, live and in the flesh. And we're here to talk some college football talk. We just got the rankings today for the college football playoff, the first 12-team playoff. So we're going to see what are our thoughts on that, as well as the NFL. And there are some teams, it's kind of disappointing today. And we have some teams that's actually kind of exciting and some shocking NFL games going on right now. But we'll get into those for tonight. And we're going to kick it off with the first question for tonight. And that question is, did you have any issues with the ranking for the first 12-team playoff? Did you have any issues, Wes?
No, I didn't have any issues at all. I liked it. I like as an Auburn fan, I like seeing Alabama out of it, but not just that. Um, I think everyone in there is well deserved. I'm looking forward to the 12-team playoff just because I'm looking forward to see where the upsets are. It's got that March Madness feeling to it, and that's what I'm looking forward to doing and filling out my bracket.
Gotcha. And just for the viewers out there that actually watch and may not watch the ESPN or anything like that, so I'll give you guys a list of the actual teams that made it to the first 12-team playoff. Number one is Oregon, followed by Georgia at number two. Boise State is number three. Arizona State at four. Fifth place is Texas. Sixth place is Penn State. Seventh place is Notre Dame. Eighth place is Ohio State. Ninth place is Tennessee. 10th place is Indiana, followed by SMU at the 11th spot. And then that 12th and final spot went to Clemson as they beat SMU last night. Mm-hmm. As my feelings and thoughts on it, I didn't have a problem with the teams. I do, however, I was kind of confused at the strength of record. I know you said, about Alabama being an Auburn fan. Even though I'm a Florida State fan, we had no we had no shot at anything this year. And I'm hopefully Gus Malzahn will help bring some life back into our offense next year. But
yeah.
Even just as a college football fan, I was kind of shocked at how Alabama was left out because of the strength of record that they had. I mean, they had a pretty strong strength of record. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, I understand they did lose at Vanderbilt. You lost to Tennessee, and then they lost at Oklahoma. So all the games they lost were on the road. But when they put the last team in there, or looking at SMU, the strength of record, I'm thinking about, okay, I understand that they weighed the championship games heavy. Yes, that's granted, that's understandable. But I figured, like, if after you have the championship matchups between the SEC, the Big 12, the Big 10, and all that, I thought that, strength of record would have meant something. So I was kind of shocked that it didn't weigh, more than what it did. And the reason why I say that is because, how will this affect teams, scheduling non-conference opponents now in the future? Because I just think that now, if you're not going to weigh heavily or value those non-conference games that you schedule, like Alabama playing Florida State next year, and other teams that have scheduled, players or teams outside of the conference. Is that if that's not gonna mean anything, then why? I think some of those teams are probably gonna be like, well, hey, this is not gonna value. We're not gonna schedule them then. We'll just try to do what we can in our division and just try to win in our league and just make it that way. Those are my thoughts on it, though.
Right. Yeah. They've proven the strength of schedule really doesn't kind of matter, at least for the committee, which one thinks it would, at least. But, it's tough. The SEC in particular, they beat the hell out of one another every week. Some of the key wins for Alabama was LSU, Georgia. Two huge wins for them. But at the end of the day, they didn't get in. They didn't get in. They lost 3 games that, other than I think Oklahoma just kind of blew them out.
Yeah.
But uh, those were games that I guess the committee looked at and said, well, can I rightfully put in a 3 loss team when I have one or two loss team here that's playing pretty tough football? But
Right.
I think it's good for the game. I mean, you have Alabama plays, Texas and plays all these other teams come in that they go after, but the schedules are set years in advance.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a double edged sword. I mean, it's great for the game. People love to watch, these powerhouses come together and play, but I'm thinking maybe down the line, since the committee's kind of showing that they're not really caring too much for that,
Hmm.
for the strength and scheduling, that you might be seeing athletic directors and others cancel games that could potentially, you could lose and keeps you out of the playoffs.
Right. And
That'd be
that's
something
the
to look
whole thing. I think that most of
going
them will
forward.
probably
Yeah.
look at it. Teams like that's in the SEC, you're already going to go against some of the toughest teams.
Mhm.
Period. I mean, you don't have to do a lot of scheduling. I don't think.
Right.
Just go win in your league. Period. And as we've seen, you're pretty much in. I mean, out of the SEC, you got Georgia, you got Texas, you got Tennessee. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I I really just say that since we've seen that now, three teams making it in the SEC. Me personally, if I'm the AD for my team, I'm talking to somebody and saying with scheduling, we were already in the one of the toughest conferences, or if not the toughest conference.
Right.
Why schedule some of those non-conference games? Give ourselves a better chance.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I know college football fans want to see that matchup in the regular season, but if it's not going to be valued or if it's going to hurt our chances of getting in, um, by all means, and if they're not going to look at the strength of record more
Mm.
heavily, then I don't know if some teams are going to just kind of take the approach that hey, we're not going to schedule some of those big games anymore. But
Yeah,
that,
absolutely. And just, the strength of schedule, while we're talking about Alabama,
mhm,
uh, out of 134, teams that are ranked in the metrics, they were ninth as far as strength of schedule. And
yeah,
SMU was 60th amongst those 134th teams.
right,
And, you know, with that strength of schedule, Alabama pretty much ranked sixth in all the key metrics
hmm,
as far as
hmm,
you know scoring and total defense and all that against that type caliber of you know of, of competition. So I'm not sure. Maybe they roll the dice on it. Maybe they throw it a dartboard. I'm not sure. But I bet for several days to a week now we're going to be hearing a lot about.
oh yeah, I know we're definitely gonna have a lot about it. A lot is already going on. Pretty much probably was at church today. There's gonna be a lot going on with it and work. Uh, you know, being in the playoff with the first ranking or the last ranking they had before this one. And
Mm-hmm.
then now that you're figuring out that hey, we're playing in the Rely Quest Bowl against Michigan. So
Right.
anyway, we'll keep moving on. But it is a good debate. It's good talk. I like that, and it keeps us going. And the last year was oh we got 4 teams. Somebody's gonna be left out. Now we got 12 teams.
Right.
Somebody's still getting left out. All
Oh
right.
yeah.
So as we go to the question number two, I'll start that one off. Question number two is, who do you see winning it all in the first 12-team college football playoff? And I'm gonna stick with my initial pick that I did when we went over this earlier in the year of who we think will win it all. And my team was still, I even though they lost yesterday, I have Texas, and this is why I think they will win. Um, The only way I see them winning from how they played against Georgia yesterday,
Mhm.
they have to put Arch Manning in the game, and I'm gonna tell you why. Arch Manning is dual threat, and he can run the ball. You could do read option with him. He's still a great passer. Um, I was kind of shocked yesterday that they didn't stick to the run game a lot more. I think I was looking at the third quarter or so, and Quinn Ewers had already threw the ball like 30 times. I'm like, when are you guys are going to run the ball? I think
Mhm.
you have to keep teams honest in the playoff because if you run it, you can control the clock with that. If you're not running it, you just stopping the clock and you're giving it back to the other team, especially if you don't, continue to move the chains. So me personally, I like Texas. The one thing that kept them in the game yesterday with Georgia, their defense is legit. And their defense is basically what's kept them probably in most of those games that they played in this year. They've only lost to one team this year, and that's
Mhm.
Georgia. So I do see out of the bracket, I do see Georgia making it at least to the semifinal game, and I
Mhm.
still see Texas making it up on the other bracket to that semifinal game somehow, some way. That's who I see winning it. So I think those guys going to go for a possible third time.
Mhm.
We'll see if my pick stays true or not. But that's who I got picked. Who do you have?
I got Georgia, and it's the sole fact that Georgia has the best chance as far as to whom they're playing
Okay,
to
okay.
get to that championship game, that match. I mean, Oregon and Ohio State, that's going to be a brutal game. Even though Oregon has taken one, it's extremely hard to win two, against the same opponent. Uh,
Hmm, hmm.
and it's it's a tough road. And then you get by them, then you got to face, we'll just presume I'll say, Texas. So then you're playing Texas. Uh, those two defenses that they're going to go against, it's going to be hard nosed. It's going to be tough, and they make it through there. I believe Georgia is going to beat Notre Dame. I think, uh, you know, say Nittany Lions, Penn State, they take care of Boise. You're
Yeah.
looking at Georgia and Penn State. I think that's a very winnable match. And Georgia's playing absolutely no pun intended. I mean, they're playing like dogs. So, I mean, they're finding ways to win. They're getting it done. They got a great
Now,
defense.
I got one question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I understand that Carson Beck was hurt. I didn't see any more information as far as is he going to be back for I didn't see anything that's going to hold him out. Do you
Mm-hmm.
still think they're going to do well whether he's playing or if he's at full strength, or how do you feel about that? Do you think that's going to have any effect?
My man, there's not enough cortisone to keep him off the field. I'll tell you that. I mean, he'll play. He'll play. I know he's recovering. He's got some time to recover, but
Okay.
he's going to find a way. If he's got to, uh, you know, find some sort of cure for a day or a week
Yeah.
or an hour, he'll get it done. He'll be out there on the field.
And I didn't have this in my initial question, but who would you have as a sleeper team? If you're not picking Georgia, who's your sleeper team?
Well, I mean, can we really can we really have sleeper teams when they make the playoffs when there's
Yeah,
12
you can
out of
have a sleeper team because
134?
right now, I'm pretty
well,
sure there's a team right now that somebody's probably looking at today, and they're saying
well,
there's no way they're
I
going to win it all.
I will tell you. I mean, I do like the Texas feel, but I really honestly think it could be Tennessee could be the Cinderella.
Okay, okay, Tennessee, I like that pick. Um, if I'm looking at it, uh, there's only one team that I think is probably, and nobody's probably picking them at all. And I got Notre Dame.
Okay. All right.
Notre Dame is just one of those teams. Hey, we probably in the first started off the year, they lost that game against Northern Illinois. Everybody was laughing at that whole weekend, and here they are in the playoff in the seventh spot, and they play
Mm-hmm.
Indiana. You get past Indiana, and next up, you might be playing either. You're probably gonna be playing Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah, you're gonna be playing one of those teams. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
but they have a solid defense. They run the ball. The quarterback has gotten. This is his first year there, but his quarterback has gotten better up to this point.
Hmm.
And they didn't have any injuries because they didn't play any championship game yesterday. So they're gonna have fresh legs. So I think the sleeper team, if I had to pick it, is gonna be Notre Dame. All right, so let's keep moving on. Question number 3 for the night. And that question involves Coach Prime time. And the question is, should Coach Prime stay at Colorado or should he go to another college football team or should he leave for the NFL? I'll start with you and then I'll answer last.
Yeah, I think Coach Prime should stay where he's at, but I
Okay.
think Coach Prime is going to go where Coach Prime wants to go. Um, I think just his feel is more kind of angled towards the NCAA. I
Hmm.
think that his coaching style and just his name alone and what he's doing there at Colorado, what he's done there and continues to do is just it's amazing. He's doing a wonderful job there. He basically holds the key to the city in Boulder. I'll tell you that. I mean, they think a lot of him out there, and he's going to an Alamo Bowl, going up
Yep.
against BYU.
Yep.
I mean, that's a pretty good accomplishment, but I don't feel like I feel like he is more suitable for that. He's proven he can coach, and I'm sure he could even coach at that NFL level. But I don't know if they want the whole show
Hmm.
at the NFL level, the whole prime time. But he's proven he can, he can get it done.
Okay.
But I just
Yeah.
don't think it correlates well with that with the NFL and a more older professional staff.
Okay. Well, I believe that he will stay at the very least through this year. I don't think he's going anywhere at least until the end of next year.
Mm,
I do feel there is going to be probably multiple teams by next year that's going to reach out to him. One being some teams maybe from the ACC, and then
mm,
I also feel there could possibly be a team from the SEC, and one of them would be if your coach, your head coach for Auburn Tigers, Hugh Freeze doesn't do well next year, and he starts off the year, let's just say, I don't know, 2-4. Or if my team, Florida State, starts off 2-4, I think he will definitely get a call from one of those organizations, from Auburn University or Florida State University.
mm,
And either way it goes, imagine him in the state of Florida getting 5 and 4 star recruits, or imagine
mm,
him at Auburn University getting 4 and 5 star recruits for Auburn University. And I just think with the name and what he did for Colorado, and I lived there for 5 years. So Colorado, I had never, when I went back to Boulder, I had never seen excitement as much as they had for that whole city of Boulder. Um, when I was there for 5 years, Colorado football was not talked about. When I go
right.
back there now, it's talked about all the time. Um,
Sure.
they talk about them probably as much as they do the Broncos, which is almost unheard of.
Yeah.
So I think that with the money talks. So I believe that if a
Oh yeah.
team actually ponies up the money for him, which I believe they will, because they know they're going to get a good coach, and he's going to bring excitement and he's going to bring notoriety to that team. I do
Mm,
feel like he'll be somewhere else, but they're going to probably have to pay him probably about upwards of 9 million, probably like almost to $10 million.
hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, very well could. Very well could. Um, I mean, I think at the end of the season, I think they made it in the top 25. I believe they're Colorado's ranked 23rd now, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken. So,
Mhm.
I mean, that's pretty good. Pretty good for
Mhm.
Boulder for sure.
Yeah, it's
But
been 8 years for Colorado,
oh,
since they're, I think, in the bowl game, so yeah.
absolutely. So I
Mhm.
mean, kudos to him.
Oh, yeah. Alright, question number 4 for the night. Gonna go have some NFL talk. If the Eagles played against the Detroit Lions for the NFC Championship game, who do you think wins and why? And I'll start this one off. Those are 2 solid teams out of the NFC. The Detroit Lions beat my Packers. I thought we was gonna swing it out, the other night on Thursday, but did not happen. I give them credit though. They do whatever they have to do to win. I've noticed that. Um, there's almost like a split image of their head coach. He said he's gonna scrap. Um, he said to have grit when he first started coaching there, and they
Mhm.
definitely have that. Even though they've had so many injuries, all those players, it was like 11 players that's on IR for defense on Detroit Lions team. They found a way to beat us.
Mhm.
They've only lost one game this whole entire year. And the way that it's going, I don't know how many other teams are going to beat them. Maybe they do play the Vikings again. I think they do play the Bears again. So maybe somebody in the division possibly could win. I think if anybody, the defense that the Minnesota Vikings has could challenge them. But
Mhm.
other than that, man, if I had to pick today, I got the Detroit Lions beating the Eagles. It may not be
Mhm.
by much. It may be just like how they won against us on Thursday. It may be a field goal game. But I don't see anybody really as tough as they are. And just wait till they get their players back from injury, and that'll be about around the time the playoffs start. So, what do you say about that?
Yeah, yeah, I concur. I think the Lions are tough, and I think they're the Super Bowl favorites for me. Uh, just like you said, they play with a lot of grit. They play that Dan Campbell style of ball. That's what he said
Hmm.
he was going to have them doing when he came in. And biting off kneecaps and whatnot.
Yeah,
But my
yeah.
man's passionate, and they love him there, and they react well to him. And
Hmm.
they play hard nosed football, and Goff's a proven winner. You got Montgomery, you got Gibbs, you got you know from Armand St. Brown. I mean, you got some playmakers there. It's dangerous. So you get in a shootout with those guys.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, they can control the clock with Montgomery. They can do some things with Gibbs and Bates. Bates has proven time and
Oh
time
yeah,
again
he's
he can
definitely
kick
good.
that game
Definitely
winner.
solid
So
kicker. Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, so I mean they're sitting right now 12-1. I would definitely have them. I would put money on whomever they go against.
Yeah. So I do agree. There's not many teams I would say that I get with in
Mm,
the NFC East or the West. Right now, the West is almost like defeated. Other than Seattle, Seattle's a more consistent team this year, surprisingly. Now, the
hmm
49ers did win today, which they're not out of it yet.
hmm
It's almost like they have to win every game just to stay into the playoff
Yeah,
the rest of
and
the way.
that's a
But
team that's just been absolutely destroyed
destroyed by the injuries.
by
Yeah,
injuries. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
just they're having a terrible year as far as injury bug
Oh
goes.
yeah. Um, but that's what I see as of right now. Now, maybe something may change.
Hmm
Um, I don't know, but that's what I see. I say the Lions. Now the Eagles are not they're not far either. Now let's not
No,
get it twisted.
mm,
The Eagles are
11-2.
a solid running team. They will run the ball on you. They will throw the ball on you. They will run with their quarterback.
Yep.
And their defense plays when it needs to play defense to make a stop here and there. So they're not far either.
I think the difference between the Lions and the Eagles is special teams.
Okay.
I mean
Okay.
that's I think the key difference from them.
Yeah.
Not taking anything away, but that and they have a little more veteran leadership as far as in their secondary. But
Yeah.
I mean they're a great team. I mean hey 11-2. It's nothing to
Right.
sneeze
Oh yeah.
about. They're doing very well. They're a scary team.
They are. They are. And especially when you have somebody in the backfield that can, run, do hurdles backwards, and
Hmm
make all kind of moves that we haven't even thought of putting on a video game yet. So next year they're gonna have to put that on a video game.
Well, they've already added it. They've
Oh,
already
they
added
already
it.
added
Yeah, you just that's a pretty much a right joystick uh,
it.
hit, and then he spins and jumps. But I'll tell you, from the AFC, the NFC, all there is a lot of these teams. Majority of the teams, it could. I mean, it's the NFL. You get beat any day.
Yeah, you
But a
can.
lot of these teams, from the Commanders to the Broncos to the Ravens to the Chargers to the Texans to the Steelers to the Bills to the Buccaneers to the Vikings to the Packers, Seahawks, like you said, I mean, they are great fundamental teams. These are hard nosed
Yeah.
football teams, and any one of those guys could, you know, could win a game.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely, definitely.
the divisions and the teams are so, you know, construct. It's hard. Like when you get in the NBA and you have the big three.
Hmm.
It's difficult to kind of construct that more so because you got five guys on the court as opposed to 11 on field. But it's remarkable at how close just the AFC and NFC how the teams are when they come to talent.
Oh
It's
yeah.
amazing.
Oh yeah. I totally agree. All right, so last question, we'll get out of here on this one. And this question is question number 5 for the night. The Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers are quietly winning in the AFC. Who do you see going further in the playoffs? I'll start with you, and then I'll finish and wrap us up.
So I mean, I know they just went final. The Bills lost 44-42 with the
Okay.
Rams.
Okay.
Uh, but I like what I'm seeing out of this Pittsburgh Steelers team. I mean, I'm really the resurrection of, if you want to call it a resurrection. I mean, Russell Wilson, he is uh, he is doing very well there. They've received him, and he's making a difference. I think it all just boils down to Pittsburgh itself and the culture, and the coaching staff there. It makes a big difference when you're wanted someplace. That's for sure. And
Right.
it's definitely not a Hallmark movie, but it's starting to be a real good feel good story for the NFL and for the Steelers this year for sure. I mean, be
Oh yeah.
36 years old. He's somehow found the fountain of youth out there. Maybe it's those Philly cheesesteaks. I don't know, but my man is tearing it up. He's looking mighty good,
Oh yeah.
and has got that team rolling. I know George was out today. I think it was a hamstring. I think he's going to be fine coming into next week, um, but that team's rolling. That defense is fantastic. And if you got defense, you got playmakers,
Hmm.
and you can control that clock with a 1-2 punch like they do, work off the play action, maybe throw in some wildcat here and there. I mean, it is a scary team. But I feel better with the Steelers and their defense and knowing what they're capable of, you know, maintaining on offense. Because look, they were winning without Wilson. They were doing
Right.
pretty well. And
Right.
Fields did a good job keeping them uh, you know, keeping them steady until Wilson could come back. Because there was a lot of people that had doubts. They were like, "Well, I don't know. He's winning. Should we switch? Should we make?" And I mean, you saw it in practices. You saw it, beginning of the year. Um, when Wilson is healthy, Russell's healthy. I mean, he can play ball, and he can win games for you. So, um, but I've got the Steelers, man. I like them. I think they can play in all weather, and that defense is just they don't give up the big plays. And if you can limit the big plays, and plus special teams, again, they
Hmm.
got they
Hmm.
got a great kicker. But if you can just limit those big plays, you can stay in a tight game and you can move the ball and get in position uh, for a game-winning field goal. I mean that. I don't know of any other team other than the Lions that does it best.
All right. Um, Out of those two teams, I mean, I will say the edge at quarterback will go to Buffalo Bills. In
Mm,
that, actually, now we'll also say the running game will probably go to the Bills too with James Cook out the backfield. The only difference I see out of the two teams is the Steelers' defense and how they play special teams.
mm,
Um, coaches, one has won a Super Bowl, and he's been pretty solid most consecutive years coaching in the NFL currently.
mm,
So with
yeah.
Mike Tomlin. So me personally, with the where they're structured and in the division that they're in, I like the Steelers as well. The only
Mm,
question is if they got into a shootout with another quarterback and somebody in the AFC like a Patrick Mahomes, or I mean it could be down to the Bills and the Steelers in the game or something like that. So only question I have, a question mark I have for the Steelers is, if it comes to that, could Russell Wilson, score 21 to, I don't know, 35 to 40 points to bring them out? I mean, I know the defense will do its
yeah.
part to try to
Oh,
keep, you know,
yeah.
but
Absolutely. I think Russell's. I mean, still can healthy. He can.
okay. But yeah, I agree though. I like the Steelers as well, just because
Yeah.
I do it solid the old way. I think the Steelers are actually doing it the old way, running
Yeah.
the football,
Yep. Warren
playing
catch
solid
out of the backfield
defense,
as well,
and
and
playing solid
Najee
special
occasionally can.
teams,
Mm-hmm.
and then not turning the ball over. A
Mm-hmm.
simple, fundamental strategy, but it goes a long way, even in the NFL
Absolutely.
today. So.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that'll get us out here on this show. If you like us, please hit the like button on YouTube, as well as subscribe to us. We also load the shows up on Facebook. If you're on there, check us out. Leave some comments on there when we put it on Facebook. And we appreciate all the support that we've been getting lately. And till the next time, you guys have a blessed week.
All right. Take care.